What's up, guys? Oh, goodness gracious. All right, it's Thursday. Football is back officially. We got Thursday night football tonight. Blue Jays, Blue Jays and Mariners, game 3 last night. Um, had a lot of hockey last night. Couple of wild games. And we got a lot of, I got stats for you. I got analytics for you today. So I told you I had been keeping track of each team's number of runs, passes, and then how many of those runs the quarterback himself was responsible for. And I said we were going to look at the analytics and find out if there is any viable variance or viable outcome that we can glean from any of it. And honestly, the numbers are absolutely freaking fantastic. I love it. So weeks 1 through 5 are all done. I've got the record of each team. The team that has the better run pass ratio. And we're going to do week 6 live here. So I'm going to run down through each individual game and we'll go over who ran the ball more, threw the ball more, etc. And then I'm going to go over the turnover. That'll be part of something that I do next week. And I'm going to kind of keep building on the statistics for here. These statistics. All right, the white door is blinking too much. Hang on. There you go. I knew the sun was a little bright outside. It is. It's absolutely bright. It's gorgeous outside today. All right, so they'll take the glare there. They'll just be off of my shiny head. Okay, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about the NHL games last night. Let's talk about the hockey games last night. So first of all, I did get my bets right last night. Outside of the Florida Panthers and the Red Wing game, everything else I got correct. Buffalo Sabres are one of the last teams to not win a game. And last night, they beat the Ottawa Senators 8-4. They had 1 goal in the first period, 4 in the second period, and then they had 3 goals in the third period. Holy cow. And it was not the only 8-goal game last night. It was not. But the way the Sabres played, they do get their first W. They are now 1-3 on the year. Ottawa drops to 1-3. So this is the bottom 2 teams in this division. But I tell you what, good for Buffalo coming out. And I still don't like the New Jerseys. I love the black and red, the old school, a lot more than I like this one. But, oh well, whatever. So the Detroit Red Wings hosted the Florida Panthers last night. They got the victory 4-1, pushing their record to 3-1 on the year. Florida Panthers go to 3-2. The Utah Mammoth go to 2-2 on the year, beating the Calgary Flames, who actually got the lead early. They jumped up on the Mammoth 1-0 in the first period, but Utah won periods 2 and 3 en route to a 3-1 victory over the Calgary Flames. Calgary is now 1-4. But the game that I watched that was just chippy. I mean, it was, I could have swore that, any second fights were going to break out. The Chicago Blackhawks knocked off the St. Louis Blues 8-3. They were the road team. Knocked them off 8-3. And honestly, it was a very impressive game. The Blackhawks were so aggressive at the point of attack. The shot selection was really, really good. the breakaways, the passing was crisp, and it was a fun brand of hockey to watch last night. But they ran into the goalie multiple times. It was just really chippy. Power plays all over the place, slashing penalties, tripping penalties, fight penalties. It was a wild game to watch. It really was. But the Blackhawks did come out on top 8-3. In college football, last night actually ended up being some very, very exciting games that I wasn't sure how the outcome would actually be. To be brutally honest with you, I wasn't sure what the outcome would actually be. But last night, Jacksonville State beat Delaware 38-25. Just absolutely blew the over-under out of the water. Then UTEP beat Sam Houston. Sam Houston is now 0-7, 0-4 in Conference USA play. UTEP beat them 35-17. So those were the two games that happened last night. Tonight's game is, let's see here, we have Tulsa at East Carolina. It's an American Conference battle. East Carolina is currently favored by 17.5. The over-under is 53.5. Now, Friday is actually going to be an interesting night. Louisville, which is 4-1 in the ACC, and I almost picked this game for my Hawks locks for the week. Almost. Louisville is at Miami, 13.5 point spread in favor of Miami. Nebraska is at Minnesota, 7.5 point spread in favor of Nebraska. San Jose State is at Utah State, and then North Carolina is at Cal. And the North Carolina-Cal game is on ESPN late tomorrow night, so I'll definitely be watching that one. I've always enjoyed watching the Golden Bears of Cal. So we got Louisville and Miami is on ESPN. North Carolina, California is on ESPN. And then the Nebraska and Minnesota game tomorrow is on Fox. Tonight's game in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals. And we're going to talk about some of the trade stuff that potentially could happen here in a second. But the Steelers and the Bengals are on two opposite ends of the trade spectrum. The Bengals are going to be looking to potentially get rid of players, primarily Hendrickson. I don't see them trading Higgins or Chase. I don't see them trading either one of those two. Chase Brown is garnering interest. I wouldn't trade him, but this is the Cincinnati Bengals we're talking about. I would stick with the players that you know are not going to be here next year. You might as well get a draft pick for them instead of letting them walk and then get nothing for them. It's really as simple as it gets. I would automatically I would sign them. I really would. I would just trade them away, sign the guys you're going to know are going to be there next year, and really just don't sweat it. Honestly, just don't sweat it. As far as trades, and to be honest, the trade mill is going to be going off. It's week 7. Week 10 is around the corner. And with the way things are built, number one, the rumors of Breece Hall getting traded to the Chiefs, from everything that I have read, are 100% true. The Kansas City Chiefs do not believe in Isaiah Pacheco. They just don't. The thing is, unlike fantasy, you're not going to get the Hunt Pacheco two-headed monster back in a trade. In fantasy football, if you have Pacheco and Hunt, you could trade both of them and a pick for a high-end player like Breece Hall. That's not going to happen. The Jets won't get Pacheco and Hunt. They'll get Pacheco and probably a pick because Breece Hall is 1,000% worth it. The Carolina Panthers are now in a very big conundrum with the fact that they now have Rico Dowdle, who has basically had 500 yards of scrimmage, 500 yards from scrimmage in the last 2 games, along with now Chuba Hubbard, who is coming back from injury. I am starting both of them in fantasy. I think they will run for 500 yards this week against the Jets. I did say this week the Jets have to win. I don't know if they can. Against the Cowboys, that offense looked really good. And we're talking about a team in the Jets that the Cowboys defense looked good playing. So how good are they going to look when they're playing the Jets now? I mean, I think the Panthers could have a really good week. I think the Panthers could be above 500, which would be great for them. I don't know if the Jets can win. I just don't know. And I'm going to go back to what I said in Fire, Water, or Ice. I'm going to go back to what I said. It's on fire there, and it's because I'm not so sure the coaching staff is good enough. The coaching staff that was assembled just doesn't seem to be able to hold up against the other teams in the AFC, let alone the division. And the Dolphins aren't good. The Dolphins only have 1 win. The Jets are so much worse. The offensive line has regressed this year. Breece Hall is getting wasted. Garrett Wilson was getting wasted. Absolutely amazing talents. Sauce Gardner's frustrated. You just signed Gardner and Wilson to long-term deals. Quinnen Williams is signed to a long-term deal. They've got contracts that are locked in with some of their young talent, but none of this has actually worked. None of it has actually done what's needed to be done. And I think that's the thing. None of it's clicked. And I understand a new head coach, but we've seen this before. The Saints have already won a game. The Dolphins even won a game, and they're bad. Bad. And the Jets haven't won any game that has been set up for them. The Giants have won 2 of the last 3 since starting Jackson Dart. So at this point, the Jets need a win. I don't know if they can get it because the Panthers can run the ball and they can play keep away and they can run it down your throats. Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard, good luck stopping either one of those 2. And yeah, I do have both of them in fantasy, and I'm starting both. It doesn't normally happen. I'm starting both, and it probably I do a touchdown. I do a 6 to 8 man parlay touchdown bet every Sunday morning. I will probably bet both of them to score a touchdown. Like that's how much I believe in what Dave Canales is doing in Carolina. I think he understands Young can't win me the game by himself. If I can play this game close, if I can run the ball and I make him only throw 20 times a game, I could win some of these. They're 3-3. Bryce Young's 3-3. Tua only has 1 win. Russell Wilson didn't get a win. Russell Wilson didn't get a win. Spencer Rattler only has 1 win. Okay? Kyler Murray has 2 wins. Bryce Young has got 3. He could have 4 after Sunday. So the trades are really going to start heating up. You get all these talk like George Pickens was non-committal on the future with the Cowboys. Of course he was. It's the Cowboys. It's the drama of the Cowboys. He has Dak Prescott throwing him the football right now, but he knows CeeDee Lamb is the number 1 receiver when he's there, when he's healthy. He's not the number 1 guy. To his credit, he is taking advantage of the opportunity that he has right now as the number 1 while CeeDee Lamb is hurt. And it's been amazing. Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind. That defense, though, of the Cowboys is absolute garbage. I suspect Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, Zach Ertz to put up 40 this week. After that loss last week where they came out and they seemed to be a little bit timid on what they were trying to do, I expect them to open it up and just go out there and score in Dallas this week. And the only way the Cowboys can win is if they outscore you. And that's not a recipe for success. We all know that, and nobody's going to really argue that. So this week is going to really define a lot of things. Jakobi Meyers is definitely on the trade block, the receiver from the Raiders. I think he goes to the Atlanta Falcons. I really think he goes to the Atlanta Falcons. And I think the Atlanta Falcons is a really good position for him. It gives Michael Penix a true number 2 receiver. Drake London can be number 1, but you need that number 2. And I think he fits what the Falcons want to do on offense because they are a running team. Drake London is asked to block. Jakobi Meyers will be asked to block. So I think Meyers to the Falcons is outstanding. Breece Hall to the Chiefs would be wild. They're getting Rashee Rice back this week. And we'll see how that offense evolves now heading into the rest of the year. We'll see what happens. But you're going to see a lot of different things kind of take shape with how this weekend goes. And that's the important thing. All right, let's hit baseball real fast. So last night, Seattle finally got to feel what it was that the Yankees felt in the ALDS as they blow up for 13 runs last night. The Blue Jays win 13-4 in Seattle to stave off a 3-0 series. Let's just say a 3-0 series hole that would not have looked good. So that is absolutely huge for the Blue Jays. Game 3 of the National League Series is tonight in LA. The Dodgers are favored by a good amount. The over-under is 7.5 runs. For Toronto and Seattle, Game 4 tonight. Seattle is favored slightly right now. And the over-under on that total is 7.5 runs as well. So we'll see what happens. Tonight we've got Luis Castillo and Max Scherzer in the pitching matchup for the Mariners and the Blue Jays. And for the Dodgers and the Brewers, we have Tyler Glasnow pitching for the Dodgers. And we don't know for the Brewers. The starter actually hasn't been announced for the Brewers. And to me, that's the problem. That is the problem. But nonetheless. Okay. So let's get to the statistics. I've been working on this. I've been keeping track all season. And I want to go back to week number 1. So the most of the rest of the podcast is going to be these statistics. And we're going to look at, and we're going to put everything down, what is the best way to win? Okay? What is the best way to win? In week number 1, we're going back to week number 1. I'm not going to give you every single game, okay? Not every single game, but we're going to go over a good deal of them each week. In week number 1, in most of the early games, the team that had less passing attempts won the game 11 out of the 16 times. They were 11-5 in week number 1. The team that won the game had less passing attempts. I'll give you the examples. Thursday Night Football. Cowboys are fighting with the Eagles. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys threw the ball 34 times, ran the ball 22 times. One of those runs was Dak Prescott's. Jalen Hurts threw the ball 23 times. The Eagles ran the ball 38 times, and Jalen Hurts used 14 of those runs himself. Jalen Hurts got the W. 34 passes for the Cowboys, 23 for the Eagles. In the Friday night game between the Chiefs and the Chargers, Mahomes threw the ball 39 times. They ran the ball 17 times, and Mahomes was 6 of those 17 runs. Herbert threw the ball 34 times. They ran the ball 25 times, and Herbert was responsible for 7 of those. So 2 of the biggest games on week 1 right away showed less passing, more running, better balance wins the game. In a game that was way, way lopsided, Tua Tagovailoa in week 1 threw the ball 31 times. They ran the ball 12 times as the Dolphins. One of those runs was from Tua. The Colts in that opening game shellacking of the Dolphins. Jones threw the ball 29 times. They ran the football 40 times in week number 1. 7 of those was Daniel Jones. In the big game between Caleb Williams and J.J. McCarthy, where McCarthy only played 1 good quarter, Caleb Williams threw the ball 35 times. They ran the ball 26 times, and 6 of those were from Caleb Williams. J.J. McCarthy threw the ball 20 times, 26 runs, and 2 of those were his own. An instance where the winner was not the lower was the Titans and the Broncos. But you remember that game was a lot closer because of the turnovers from passing so much. Knicks threw the ball 40 times in that opening week game when Cam Ward only threw the ball 28 times. And that sometimes plays out to be the difference. Week number 1, when the Lions actually looked bad, not because of injuries, but looked bad playing the Packers, Jordan Love threw the ball 22 times. They ran the ball 25 times, and 3 of those runs were from Jordan Love. Goff in that game threw the ball 39 times. They only ran the ball 22 times, and 1 of those was from Goff. The reality with how this is played out is actually astonishing. In week number 2, the record was 10-6. In week number 3, the record was 11-5. In week number 4, you had a little bit different. It was 10-5. It was the first week that buys started rolling in. And in week number 5, they were 9-5. The analytics are going to be pretty clear. We're going to look at week number 6 live here in just a second. We're going to do this all right here while I'm doing this with you. This is one of the segments for today, and we're going to run through this entire thing. 9-5, 10-5, 11-4, 12-4. It's pretty clear. Being the team that throws the ball a ton does not always work out. The Kansas City Chiefs, we know, have no run game. When they lost to Jacksonville last Monday night, Mahomes threw the ball 41 times. Remember, they had the lead. They had the lead. Threw the ball 41 times. Ran the ball 22 times. 6 of those runs were from Mahomes. The Jaguars, Lawrence threw the ball 25 times. They had 26 runs. 10 of those runs were Trevor Lawrence. So when you look at week number 6, let's open it up and jump right into this. So here we go. Jackson Dart, 25 passes. The Giants had 39 runs. Of those 39 runs, Dart had 13 of those. Jalen Hurts on Thursday Night Football threw the ball 33 times. They ran the ball 20 times. And Hurts, of those 20, was responsible for 7. Hang on. There we go. Okay. So in that game, once again, the team that threw the ball less wins the game. Now, let's look at the very ugly London game between the Jets and the Broncos. And these numbers aren't going to be great no matter which way we slice them. Bo Nix threw the ball 30 times. As a team, the Broncos ran the ball 26 times, and Bo Nix was responsible for 5 of those. Justin Fields threw the ball 17 times. As a team, they ran the ball 31 times, and Fields was responsible for 7 of those. And in this game, it went the other way. The team that threw the ball more and ran the ball less ended up getting a W. And most could agree Denver should not have won that game. If you have that type of offensive output in the second half, even against the Panthers, against the Titans, you're losing. That was a horrible showing by the Jets. The Broncos played like absolute garbage, got a victory. The defense is really good. They sacked Fields 9 times. But on offense, they played like absolute garbage. And they got a W. And the stats, this time they ran the ball less, 5 times less than the Jets, and threw the ball 13 times more than the Jets, and still got the win. And sometimes when you're a really good team, you can play that way to where you get a win when you shouldn't if you're a really good team. That was what the Broncos did. Now let's move to the Colts versus Cardinals game. Daniel Jones threw the ball 30 times. As a team, the Colts rushed the ball 27 times. And Daniel Jones was responsible for 5 of those. Now when you look at the Cardinals, the contrast. The Cardinals, Brissett threw the ball 44 times. They ran the ball 24 times, and of those 24, Brissett was responsible for 3 of those. And the Colts ended up winning regardless of whether or not the pass interference call was missed in the end zone, of which it was. It was pass interference. I've seen a bunch of Colts fans trying to claim it wasn't. If it was Tyler Warren that got that specific play against him, you sub in Warren for McBride and have it be a Cardinal defender where everybody is screaming for pass interference and that the refs should be fired and blah, blah, blah. Okay? It was pass interference. He had him at the top of the route. McBride beat him. He's the bigger guy. He held on. It just, whatever. But in this game, the one that ran the ball more and threw the ball less got the W. By the skin of their teeth. Absolutely by the skin of their teeth. But they got the W. So far through 3 games in week number 6, the team that ran the ball more and threw it less are currently 2-1. Now let's go to the Miami Dolphin Charger game. The Chargers threw the ball 38 times. They ran the ball 25 times. And only one of those rushes was Justin Herbert. Tua Tagovailoa threw the ball 33 times. They ran the ball 21 times, and Tua was responsible for 1 of those. Now, Tua had 3 interceptions. The turnovers were ridiculous for Miami. But nonetheless, this game, the team that threw it more and ran it more. So this one's actually a double. They threw it more and ran it more. They got the win. 38-25 to 33-21. And why did they win? Well, because Tua kept throwing interceptions. That's really what it comes down to. Tua just kept throwing interceptions. And, you know, he's trying to be a leader after the game, talking about meetings, calling Mike McDaniel's coaching ability out. Dude, it doesn't work when you're the one that's throwing interceptions. You're the one turning the ball over, hurting the team. You can't call the team out when you're the reason they lost. Like, come on. The Chargers don't have an offensive line. The Colts should beat them this week. If they don't, it's actually really not a good thing. The Colts should beat the Chargers this week. The offensive line is beat up. We should be able to take advantage of it, even with the lackluster pass rush we currently have. We're not the Dolphins. So, I mean, come on. You had the Chargers exactly where you wanted them. The Dolphins' defense did let them off the hook. I agree. But without 3 interceptions, they maybe get another extra field goal. They may get 2 extra field goals. Like, it was 3 interceptions. Come on. All right, so the next game, the Patriots and Saints game. Drake May threw the ball 26 times. The Patriots ran the ball 31 times. And Drake May was responsible for 9 of those. Spencer Rattler also threw the ball 26 times. They ran the ball 23, and Rattler was responsible for 4 of those. So in this game, the team that had more balance won the game. 26 and 31. More rushes than passes is the team that won the game. Patriots won. In the Pittsburgh Steelers game, this one I know is clear. Gabriel threw the ball like 50 times. This was ridiculous. He threw the ball 52 times. That's not how you... We all know that is not how you win in the NFL. And they had 17 runs, and Gabriel was responsible for none of them. None of them. The Steelers, Rodgers threw the ball 30 times. They ran the ball 28, and Rodgers was responsible for 1, and they got the W. So the team with the more balanced offense is currently, through 6 games, 4-2. Balance matters. Now you look at the Panthers and the Cowboys. I know what this one is because we were watching it. Bryce Young threw the ball 25 times. The Panthers ran the ball 38 times. So what I think they're going to do to the Jets this weekend, to be honest with you, they may run the ball 40 times. The Cowboys threw the ball 34 times. They ran the ball 19, and they got the loss. The Panthers had more balance. The Panthers were the better team that didn't wear down. It's simple. 25 passes, 38 runs. W. 34 passes, 19 runs. Loss. It's really not complicated. Now they're 5-2 so far this week. Now they're 5-2. Let's go to the Jaguars and the Seahawks. This game is very telling. And this one I'm going to put on Liam Cohen because it didn't have to be the way that it was. Trevor Lawrence was sacked 7 times by Seattle's defense. They were only down 13-6 at half. They were down 20-6 at the end of the third quarter. Cam Little missed a field goal. He missed an extra point. So there is that. But the reality is Trevor Lawrence threw the ball 42 times in this game. They only ran the ball 19 times. And Trevor Lawrence was 3 of those. Sam Darnold threw the ball 27 times. They ran the ball 26 times. And Darnold was responsible for 4 of those. And the Seahawks win. It's that simple. The Seahawks win. So, the first 8 games, the team with the better balance won 6 of the 8 times. 6. Balance matters. Balance really matters. Now, this game isn't necessarily a fair game to really judge, but the Rams and the Ravens, I found this to actually be a little bit interesting. So in total, because they also played Tyler Huntley along with Cooper Rush as the Ravens. In total, the Ravens threw the ball 34 times, but they ran the ball 37 times. And their quarterbacks were responsible for 4 of those. So as far as balance is concerned, They ran more than they threw as far as balance is concerned. On the other times, Stafford threw the ball 26 times. They ran the ball 23 times. So the lower number of plays due to the turnovers ends up winning the game. So that one, not so much. The team that ran more actually lost between the Ravens and the Rams. But then you look at the next game, which is the Titans and the Raiders. Now, we all know what this game should be because Geno Smith has been a turnover machine this year. He still had an interception against Tennessee, by the way, so don't think that he played a clean game. Cam Ward threw the ball 38 times. They only ran the football 15 times. Maybe this is why Brian Callahan got fired. Just maybe. Just a slight guess. The offense was absolutely inept, and I'm wondering if that played a big part in it. Because Brian Callahan was an offensive guy. Well, the Raiders threw the ball 23 times. They ran it 32. And you know what? They got to win. Vegas is now 2-4. However you slice it, a W is a W. They got the win, more runs than passes, and they get what they need. The balance is better. Now you look at the Bengals and the Packers. In this game, we kind of already knew what was going to happen. I had talked about it. It was the throw to Jamar Chase show. Jamar Chase was targeted 12 times. T. Higgins was targeted 8 times. It was the Jamar Chase show. Joe Flacco threw the ball 45 times. He is old, and he's thrown the ball 45 times. They only ran the ball 16 times. And that's just not a recipe to win if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. On the other hand, the Packers, Jordan Love threw the ball 26 times. They ran the ball 33 times, and Love was responsible for 7 of those. And they got the W. So right now, you are sitting at, on the week, you're sitting at 8-3. The team that runs more wins the game. Then you go into the wild game between the 49ers and the Buccaneers. And this game actually was different than I thought. Mac Jones threw the ball 39 times. They only ran it 22 times. Mac Jones was responsible for 5 of those. Baker Mayfield only threw the ball 23 times. They ran the ball 26 times. Baker Mayfield was responsible for 3 of those. The team that had more rushes, less passes, won in this big game when Tampa Bay's wide receiver core was depleted. And yes, San Francisco is definitely not healthy by any means. But when you're asking Mac Jones to throw the ball 39 times, it's just not going to work. It's why you have Christian McCaffrey. Let's just be honest. It's why you have Christian McCaffrey. All right, a game that shocked me. A game that really shocked me because I watched the entire game and I was wondering how this all played out. This was actually really interesting. So the Chiefs and Lions game. And I want to give the Chiefs credit because they really made a concerted effort to not be what they had and not lose the way they lost against the Jaguars, which was throwing themselves out of the game. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 30 times. As a team, they ran the ball 29 times, and 10 of those was Mahomes. Okay? The Lions threw the ball 29 times. They only had 23 runs, and one of those was by Jared Goff. So in this game, the team with more runs and the better balance, a one-play differential, only one play, is the team that won the game. The better balance still won the football game. Now you go to Monday night. Bills and Falcons. This game was odd. It was really odd. And this is why I said McDermott's got to be careful because the way that this game played out isn't worried about. Isn't worried about. Um, the Bills threw the ball 26 times. They ran the ball 24 times. Of those 24 runs, Josh Allen had 6. So it's right there. It's right there. But the Falcons threw the ball 32 times, ran the ball 32 times, and Penix was responsible for 2 of those. So a team with a complete 50-50 balance won the game. 50-50 split on runs to pass ratio. That's who won the game. And honestly, it's pretty impressive. Honestly, it's pretty impressive. Then you had that game between the Commanders and the Bears. And this game went against the logic. Jayden Daniels threw the ball 26 times. They ran the ball 31 times. Daniels had 10 of those rushes. And they ended up losing because of that fumble. Caleb Williams threw the ball 29 times. They ran the ball 27 times. And Caleb was responsible for 4 of those. So in that instance, it was actually the other way. So when you look at it as a whole, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have an 11-4 week. 11-4 of run to pass ratio. It affects everything. It affects how the games end up being played out. There is an aspect to this game where if you want to win, you better be balanced. So yes, Brian Callahan got fired. Why? Because he wasn't balanced. Because there was nothing that he could do that looked like a team that was getting ready to compete on a, not even the low level. They couldn't compete at any level. The win was really kind of a fluke. It was because of a fumble by a brainhead at the goal line that they were able to win the game. So when you start watching these football games, keep in mind, balance is everything. You can't. The Colts made a living, and it never won in the playoffs, where they would throw and throw and throw, and Joseph Addai would have maybe 15 runs, and Manning would throw the ball 45 times, and we would win games, but it doesn't actually win the games. It's not a recipe for success. Mahomes and the Chiefs had done this for the last couple years, and when it got time to be in the Super Bowl with a defensive coordinator that wasn't Sean McDermott, that was actually good at calling defense, that wasn't afraid or intimidated by Andy Reid, he blew up a team that couldn't run the ball. He rushed 4, he got pressure with 4, he ran them out of the building with 4 down linemen. He brought nickel blitzes whenever it was seemingly convenient, and the Chiefs had no answer. Why? Because the Chiefs can't run the ball. Why are they looking at getting Breece Hall in? Because they can't run the ball. Running the football is a vital part of having a championship caliber team. I know the Bills have lost 2 in a row. I am not concerned. Outside of their head coach, I'm not concerned because they have run the ball so much better. They are so much more even on their offense. The balance is there. If the Falcons can throw the ball 32 times and run the ball 32 times each game, I love the balance of the Falcons. That's why the Lions are going to consistently be there, because their balance is consistently good. The Colts, and I have said this, you have heard me, and even the guys that I talked to, they asked, he goes, You are just not ready to go all in on them, are you? And I go, no, there's too many holes. The number one hole is Jonathan Taylor, for multiple weeks, had very low rushing numbers. We weren't actually balanced. And that doesn't give me a lot of hope because it doesn't prove that they can win when we need to. Can you grind down the clock against a team that can actually play defense? Broncos had you beat. A fluke penalty. You guys didn't get the penalty. The Broncos had you beat. The Rams, you should have beaten. I'll give you that one. I will give you that one. And now you've got this game against the Chargers where maybe we will see what happens on both sides. Maybe we'll see what happens on both sides. So the reality is, and I hope you guys found the stats interesting. I did. I kept track of all the stats for a reason. When it comes down to it, you need to be balanced. The running game matters in the NFL. Don't let anybody tell you it's only a passing league. Because in a passing league where the defenses are getting faster and the front four and front seven are so much better, you need a running game. All the stats say it. All the analytics prove it. So, there you go. All right, guys, that's Thursday. That is Thursday. I got to go pick up my oldest from work and then go to bed. Go to work tonight. We will be live 9 o'clock tomorrow. I do know that one is set. Today had a little bit of delay because of obviously kids being on fall break. Next week will be completely back to normal. They'll all be at school, and I will be happy. I will absolutely be happy. So we'll check on some of the injury stuff tomorrow as we head into the weekend. We'll do our weekly previews, Hawks pick 6, my college picks. We'll get all of those done tomorrow on a glorious Football Friday, and we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the podcast with a friend. I appreciate it ever so much. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Make it the best day you can, and I will talk with you guys tomorrow. Until next time, in 23 hours from now, or no, let's see. We are actually 20 hours from now. Sorry. Let's see, 9 o'clock, 12, hold on. I think doing math is too hard. 21 hours from now. There it is. 21 hours from now, we'll be live, 9 o'clock in the morning. Sports Talk with Hawk on a Football Friday. Going over everything. All right. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Make it the best one you can. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk. I'm out. See you guys tomorrow.